the ear and the brain are drawn towards familiar elements, but they're also repelled by things that are too familiar. And so if you were to make a graph, so you got your graph here, and how much you like something is along this axis, and how familiar it is along this axis. If something is unfamiliar, it's here. If it's very familiar, it's here, right? So you're not going to like it very much if it's completely unfamiliar. And as it gets more and more familiar, your liking will increase. But then if it gets too familiar, it'll start decreasing again. And if it's just like, you know, Barney the Dinosaur music, or too much fa la 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 near the holidays, you want to escape it. It's aversive. So the trick of the composer is to somehow give you enough that's familiar so that you feel that you can follow along, but not so much that's familiar that it seems derivative or repetitive or tiring, and to hit that sweet spot between novelty and familiarity.
Yeah, I do. Sometimes I score, you know, usually I score stuff like with notes, like when I'm for people for overdubs. For myself, I don't. I probably should, because sometimes I forget. I get like a great idea and go, okay, I got it. And again, the next day, I don't got it, you know. So, yeah, but I try to put it on if it's something I'm really want to, you know, retain, I'll record it usually.
If I can arrange a song, particularly a song that everybody knows, or that might have been a big song, I have to be true to the melody, you know. I think John Lennon's Imagine would be a classic example of one of my early arrangements. And you know, a song like Imagine is like the Holy Grail. It's like one of the most important songs for the human race ever written. You know, I always try to approach the melody like a singer, and then I try to find a good key to play the song in. So Imagine. I found that the D works nicely. Right?
Well, I don't do a lot of experimenting. You know, I kind of sure there's a certain amount of experimenting, but mostly I know what I want. You know, when I start doing it, and you use any means necessary. And really, the way that I'll construct a song in the arrangement is based on what the song is telling me it needs to be. That's a very personal thing. There's no right or wrong in it, because it's up to you to decide that. So I'll listen to it. So I may pick up a guitar and play a melody or a riff, and I'll hear it in a big picture, you know? I'll visualize it in a big picture. And I'll ask, you know, I'll let the song tell me what should the lyrics be, what is the arrangement, you know?
How long would it take you to arrange, you know, like a song or a 16-bar phrase?
The hardest part about arranging, and I used to actually get physically ill sometimes, sitting there sweating over the introduction.
Wow.
I would sit there and think, what am I going to do here? How am I going to start this song? But I later learned that if you do the rest of the song first, the intro is in there somewhere. And you'll find a phrase, you'll find something in the song which goes at the beginning.
That made sense.
You know, and so that's what I started doing. But boy, I used to sit there and sweat. Sometimes it would take me days to just do the intro.
You know, like a really simple thing like Satisfaction, for example. Mm-hmm. You know, everyone does the riff, yeah. Okay, that isn't the root of the chord. That's the fifth, right? The song's in E. And the bass doesn't, the rhythm guitar plays E and D. What the bass plays so on that D chord, you have D over A, and then you have the riff is sitting on the D, the root note. So, and also the bass is playing a completely different rhythm than the riff, and the rhythm guitar is playing a different rhythm, and the drums are just really I think it's an early example of a loop. That record, if you listen close, the drums, I think they made a loop, and it's just quarter notes all the time. So everything else of the song has to get created from the other instruments. And that chorus, the combination of those three elements to me, and the vocal, which is yet a different rhythm, that creates the magic of that song.
Yeah.